What's up, guys? Today we're going to be looking at a song by. Oh, wait, this is Fit for an Autopsy again. Absolute Hope, Absolute Hell. This is, in my opinion, very. We'll see. Okay, so this is exactly what I was talking about with typical progressive metalcore. Um, Industrialization's bad, and buildings and robots are going to take over. Um, it's not exactly what he's saying, but it's the idea. He's basically saying there was a chance that we had to do well with the world we were given, but we ruined it. And somehow, for some reason, even after all our actions that we have not yet reaped the consequences for, we still think that it's going to turn out okay when we know sure as hell that it's not going to turn out okay because we fucked it up. Um, this is obvious. I don't know a lot about Fit for an Autopsy. I think they're American based. But if so, that makes sense that they're talking about the US like this, I guess. But at the same time, it's slightly overdramatic. Um, yeah, at some, like, this is one thing that a lot of people, I guess, don't want to accept or don't get about history is you look at all the superpowers that have run the world, right? That have been in charge of the world. You watched the Egyptians, they collapsed eventually. You watched the Israelites, they went on a rampage for a while in Mesopotamia and conquered all the neighboring, not necessarily villages or the cities and stuff in that area. And then they fell to the Assyrians. And then the Assyrians fell to Babylon, to the Babylonians. Then Babylon fell to Media and Persia. And Persia thought they were hot shit and tried to take on the Greeks. And the Greeks beat their asses. And then Alexander the Great did his thing and trampled half of the world and was like, yo, what's up? I'm here. I'm going to smack the shit out y'all. And so he smacked the shit out y'all. And then on his way back from smacking the shit out of them, he died. Ironic. Then his kingdom was divided up, and then the Romans showed up and said, "Hey, look, a fairly established kingdom. Let's take all of it." So they started with the Italian peninsula, then took Carthage, and then they just went zoom and took over everything else. Then the Roman Empire was huge, and then you have the Holy Roman Empire, which then split into the Eastern and Western Holy Roman Empire. Then you had the Crusades, which was stupid as fuck, and then you had the Germanic takeover, and then you had Charlemagne's kingdom, and you had the Vikings and all that jazz, and um, you the pattern. My point is the pattern of history is superpowers come and go and they rise and fall. And the US is not like the US has been a superpower almost as long as it's been in existence, which is crazy. So that's like 200 and something years that the US has been a superpower, and we're still like there's no possible way the US is going to get overthrown. Hey, guess what? China's coming at some point. My point is the idea that the US is impenetrable and is completely invulnerable to any future of destruction is very idealistic. I'm not saying that the US is going to fall in the next 10 years or anything, because I do not believe that the US is going to be taken out that fast. Um, I don't believe even necessarily that I'll see the end of the US as a superpower in the world. But as long as we're human, nothing lasts forever. And the rise of kingdoms and the fall of kingdoms is part of humanity. Conquest, surprisingly, is part of being human. We want to fight and we want to take over more. That's kind of why you have wars at all, because people want to take, like Russia invading Ukraine, for example. Um, they want their land back from the USSR. Of course, they're not going to be able to put that name back on it, but they want their land back from that. Um, Everybody is out to control more of anything. And while it would be super nice to be like, yeah, well, we could all just be happy with what we have and live in peace. That's some bullshit, because that's not what the last, I don't know, 3,000 years of history have shown us. 4,000, 5,000 years of history. living at peace doesn't happen. You have to be able to defend yourself if you want any type of peace. It's called deterrence. If you can defend yourself and your enemies know you can defend yourself and they might lose a battle, they're probably not going to pick a fight with you. But there have been things done, especially that metalcore addresses like industrialization, that has destroyed a lot of the planet. Not all of it, not as much as people say, but the Amazon has suffered. Australia is suffering. The U.S. parts of it are suffering, and a lot of us think, well, these resources that the Earth is giving us will continue to give us for forever, and we'll just happen to be like super dope forever. It's like, well, no, that's not how it works. But okay, if you want to think that, fine, go ahead. Think your shit, and your thinking is shit. So, anyway, that's my little spiel for this video. Heh. Anyway, Fit for an Autopsy, very middle of the road metal to me. That's just they're talented musicians and everything, but still very middle of the road. So anyway, I will stop talking about the song and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.